Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Hump Day edition of the JP Peterson Show, coming to you live from the Jeeves Law Group studio here in beautiful South Tampa, along with my good buddy IndyCar Tim Ham from our Dallas affiliate, FanStream Sports DFW. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning, JP. You know, I was 50 years old before I realized Hump Day was not a sexual term.
And then you quickly went back to it and said, yes, it is.
I didn't know. I didn't know my entire life what Hump Day meant.
Well,
like 4 years ago.
And then Geico went and did a whole commercial about it. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing?
And Dirk Nowitzki did a whole thing on it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's not what I thought it was.
There you go. There you go. Well, now you know. We're getting in. Gotta feel this is July. What are we at? July 2nd now. And it's dragging, man. It's dragging. We're gonna try to bring you the best in sports radio in the summertime. Dave Randorf's gonna join us here a little bit. Lightning play-by-play man. Caught up with him last night. We were shooting a little promo for the Lightning schedule release. Details cannot be given, or I will be shot by John Franzone, my boss. But it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. All the Lightning broadcasters are involved in it, and some mascots, so it's going to be fun. So we had a couple beers last night. Said, come on the show in the morning. They're doing a developmental camp for the Lightning, which, by the way, they're supposed to be doing it out at the TGH Iceplex, and they got a big power hit. So they came in to skate yesterday morning, and it was a puddle of water. Like, whoops. So they're having to reconfigure now and get over to Amalie Arena.
So they're now the Tampa Bay Lightning water polo team.
Yeah, so exactly. So trying to figure out next steps. We're going to try to get the ice down at Amalie Arena, where Dave is today. So we'll find out if they're going to have a developmental camp today or not. And they're going to call. He and Brian are going to call the game. So we'll talk about the young players who will one day be Lightning stars, or so we hope. So he'll join us in just a little bit, and Scott Reynolds will join us at 10:30. So a big first hour here, brought to you by Onsite Construction, OnsiteConstructionFL.com. All right, before we get Dave on, a quick note on the Rays, and we'll get into them more in the second half of the show. But another disappointing loss last night, 4-3 in extras. 2 games to the A's. Frankly, you got to win. Last night or 2 nights ago, Monday and Tuesday, games you got to win. Kind of aggressiveness on the base pass that have been so good for them during their 6-week run. It kind of bit them in the butt last night. Caballero got on in the 9th and got thrown out at second base at a very close play, stealing. Thought he got in there. They challenged it, but it was just a quick bang play. Boy, tell you what, Shea Langoliers is one hell of a catcher. I would love to see him in a Rays uniform. Power. Oh, he's really, really good. He had a home run again last night, 2-2 nights. So, yeah, would love to see him in a Rays uniform at some point. And the A's give players away, so why not? Let's go get him. So, yeah, just a good chance to win another game last night. Went to extras and couldn't get it done. Josh Lowe had a couple of big at-bats of runners in scoring position and could not come through. But that's baseball. It's kind of the way it goes. And they'll get back at it today in a day game. Getaway game. Then it's a 10-game road trip, and then they are on the road for a very long time.
And not only have you lost 4 or 5 now, JP, you've lost 4 or 5 to 2 last-place teams. Mm-hmm. So as much as we praise this team for getting things done the last, month, now we're looking at them against the Orioles and the Athletics who don't even have a home.
Well, neither do we. But yes, we do. Yes,
you do. Of course you do. Yes.
Well, yeah, we're in better shape than them. But all right, we'll table the Rays talk for a little bit so we could jump in and talk a little Lightning with our good friend Dave Randorf, Lightning play-by-play man, who's on a new television station now. The Scripps is now your boss, Channel 66, The Spot. And what's going on, Dave? How are you, partner?
I'm doing well. I was just listening to your baseball banter and kind of still basking in the glow of the fact that my Blue Jays have taken 2 straight from the division-leading Yankees.
And they've overtaken us. We are now in third place. We're looking up at you now.
Yep, that's right. I'm just going to leave it out there. But actually, listen, I watch the Rays a lot now that I live here. You and I have talked about this, but
Yeah.
and I admire how they're in it almost every year.
Yeah.
And I say that with a tinge of jealousy because they always seem to handle the Blue Jays over the years. But both teams are doing pretty well. Both teams have been on a roll, the Blue Jays and the Rays. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. To get back to what you're saying, yes, if I could do a little plug.
Yes.
For a little awareness for Lightning fans out there. New television home this season for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we're excited about it. Yeah, it is. We have moved on from FanDuel and Bally. We're no longer going to be shown there. We are on local, over-the-air, free cable television. Tampa Bay, the spot. Check your local cable provider as to which channel that lands on. I guess it would be 66. I checked Spectrum yesterday when it officially transitioned to Tampa Bay, the spot, and it's on 17.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be in that local, the local top 20.
Yeah. So if you're on Spectrum, I can tell you right now it's 17. So that's a very accessible lower tier channel. Plus, the plan is to stream the games on the Lightning app as well. That won't be free, but it'll be not much at all. Like it's going to be less than $1 a game for the whole season. So it's not a bad way to get your mobile fix, like I am right now in the car. You could watch it wherever. So, we've got you covered. We've got you on TV. We've got you on your phone. So make sure you are aware of that. Don't go looking for us on FanDuel.
Any streaming service like YouTube TV, I know a lot of people got YouTube TV, Direct TV, any streaming service where you get local channels, you sign up for the local channel inclusive. Yeah. Okay. Just usually around $75-$80, whatever streaming service you're using, that'll be on there. The spot will be on there because it's a must carry station, local station. So it'll be on every cable system, every streaming system. And then of course you can buy it if you want for your mobile phone. So I don't know about you, Dave, but I've had over the last 2 or 3 years, lots of fans say, I can't even watch the Lightning game. I can't watch them because they have all cut the cord. And it's like, I think this is huge for the Lightning. It's going to open up once again. People will know where to find it. Every single game going to be there. Same broadcasters, which is awesome for pre and post. And you and Brian doing the game and Gabby. So I think it's a great move by the Lightning.
Yeah, cool. You're right, and our viewership our area is going to broaden as well. Yeah. We are going to go from Fort Myers north all the way up through the Panhandle. I know you've got your college football roots, FSU, and I know Florida Gator fans and everything like that that tune into your show. So we're going to go right up through the Panhandle, hopefully into the Orlando market as well. So we are going to have a larger audience available to Bolts Nation as well. So check it all out, and it is a good news thing. So onwards and upwards.
All right, let's talk a little Lightning. I know you're there for the developmental, the young kids, but I think with free agency yesterday, we don't have you for a lot of time, so I want to jump right in. Obviously, what the Panthers did yesterday was, I remember talking with Brian on the post-game show for, the regular season and postseason and say, well, at least they won't be able to keep Sam Bennett next year, right? At least they're going to lose guys in free agency. And here we sit. They brought them all back, and they're all signed through freaking 2030. Mm-hmm. So, we talked about this last night. I mean, we can look at a lot of different storylines, but the bottom line is it's the Lightning versus the Panthers, and that's all we really the preseason game in Orlando is going to be huge.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it is now, right?
When you meet in the playoffs, until you meet in the playoffs, you don't truly have a rivalry. For years, the Lightning and the Panthers had a decent rivalry, but they'd never met in the playoffs up until like 4 years ago. And since then, the stakes have been raised. That it's been taken to the next level, especially since the Panthers are the champs. They're the two-time defending champs. They've gone to 3 straight finals. They are positioning themselves to go to a 4th consecutive final by bringing everybody back. And certainly when the schedule comes out in a couple of weeks, Lightning fans, I know I'm going to look immediately to see when we play the Panthers because those are big games. Let's not discount the rest of the division. You could arguably, you could make a great case and say the Atlantic Division is the toughest division in the National Hockey League. Leafs give the Lightning a handful. Montreal is on the rise. Detroit, we'll see. Ottawa made the playoffs this year. They took a playoff spot. The Bruins, are they going to miss again? We'll see. So it's a difficult division just to get out of it. let alone worry about one team in particular in the Panthers. But you want to talk about them. Listen, hey, we said it before, we'll say it again. The shoe's on the other foot.
Yep.
For years, the Lightning were the big brother in this state, and I truly believe that the Florida Panthers, as an organization, were sick and tired of getting beaten by the Lightning in the regular season and then in the playoffs, and addressed it and went about it in a systematic, very methodical way. First, it started with a blockbuster trade where they landed Matthew Tkachuk. You can even take it back a step when they signed Sergei Bobrovsky to a huge contract, long-term contract. And then if you remember, there was a time there about 2 years into that deal, it didn't look so good.
No.
His game regressed, and he wasn't even the starter in the playoffs against the Lightning a few years ago.
That's right.
Yeah. But clearly he has regained his form. He is, by all accounts, just a legendary work ethic guy, and remolded his game back to Vezina form.
He was so good against us in the playoffs. He was so freaking good.
He was good the whole playoffs.
Yeah,
both
true.
years, last year and this year. He was excellent. And let's face it, that was a huge advantage they had over every team they faced in the postseason, including the Lightning. It ended up playing out that way, that Bobrovsky was the better goaltender in each and every series they played. So they had him. They swing for the fence. They bring in a huge culture leadership piece in Matthew Tkachuk, who, say what you will, the guy is a competitor. He gets his nose dirty. He's in on big moments. He shows up when it matters most, and he's got that pedigree, and he's dragged a lot of guys with him. Then they make a huge trade with Buffalo and landing Sam Reinhart, who goes on to have a 57-goal season and has been scoring 40 a year since he got there. So, but what they've done around that, JP, is that they've added complementary pieces, depth guys like Gustav Forsling, who was a waiver wire
really
pickup,
good,
an amazing pickup. A guy like Evan Rodriguez, a guy like who am I thinking about? Depth pieces like Boquist, Jesper Boquist, guys that they can plug and play. They've created depth on top of their elite skill and their elite players. And then, of course, when they surprised everybody and added Brad Marchand to the mix, and he didn't even play until really the playoffs showed up, and was obviously a huge force when the postseason hit. So they've done a great job building that team. And they are, once again, the team to beat in the East. No question about it.
So the question now that Lightning fans want to know is, with Bjorkstrand actually playing in a series, because he didn't play, Lightning being a little healthier. And then we were saying, what are Lightning going to do in this offseason? At this point, there hasn't been any major additions. We're hoping Gage Gonsalves, who we re-signed, is going to continue to grow. But after that, the Lightning have not gotten any bigger, have not gotten any stronger. They've added a couple of depth pieces, but I don't see them making big differences. Do the Lightning have enough in Bjorkstrand and Yanni Gourde that they added, which they really didn't get a lot out of because of injuries at the end? Is that enough to compete against the Panthers? Because still the core versus core, I think the Lightning are right there with the Panthers. But it's those third line, and remember, Marchand was on their third line. Third and fourth line guys that make the difference, right, in these series. But I think we're close. I don't think it's, I think we were very close in the series, right? Every game was a 1-goal game going into the third period. So are we close enough?
Well, right now, right at this moment, as it lines up on paper, probably not, because of the one thing that you mentioned and you're highlighting is depth. Yeah. You're going to need, now we are a long way away from the Stanley Cup playoffs, and a lot can happen.
Right.
But right now, probably not. They have done a great job building depth, and I really noticed it, when I was doing my rosters preparing for that first round matchup, and the Lightning had lost Bjorkstrand, as you mentioned, and they didn't have a whole bunch of depth to begin with in the bottom six. Bjorkstrand was brought in to help with that, and then he's out of the mix. Geeky's a young kid. Gonsalves is a rookie. Depth was an issue. And they had like 4 guys that weren't even playing that could go into the lineup any time. I don't think AJ Greer started that series. I don't think Gadjevich started that series. Boquist, all these guys who ended up playing, they had, what was the stat? They had about 10 guys with 20 points in the playoffs. It was ridiculous how much depth and what type of production they got up and down their lineup. So the Lightning added Pontus Holmberg yesterday. A guy who's played the last 5 seasons with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this is a perfect example of what I was talking about. a sneaky, cheap depth add, a fourth line guy who is not going to grab any headlines yesterday. In fact, there weren't very many headlines made across the league. But let's be fair. It's not like the Lightning were sitting on their hands. There weren't a ton of moves yesterday. It was a relatively quiet free agent July 1st day, with the exception of a couple big names going here and there and maybe the day before. But
it's Martin in Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, and Keandre Miller was a big acquisition by Carolina, another defenseman going there. But the depth out of Holmberg is exactly the type of complementary piece that I think you'll see them add as the season goes on, and certainly up towards the trade deadline. It's not a bad thing to go into this season with a little something they haven't had a lot of, and not a lot of teams have had a lot of, is cap space.
Yeah.
Cap space is an asset, especially when you get hurt, if you get hurt, or if things happen, something goes sideways, and you can make a bigger move or a couple of big moves that you can't do if you race into the free agency period and sign a big deal that you may regret down the road.
Right.
I think Julien Brisebois said at his season-ending press conference that we like our team. We like the way we're constructed. Exactly, and you just mentioned their core is as good as anybody's. Their elite core is still measures up with anybody's in the league, and that of course includes the goaltender and Andrei Vasilevsky. It's about building around it and adding to the bottom six and adding to the third pairing and D. They need more help and more depth, and I think that will no doubt be addressed. I would also like to see a little bite added, a little aggressiveness.
Yes.
I think the Florida Panthers pushed everybody around. Every team they faced, they pushed them all around, the Lightning included. And I would like to see a little bit more pushback. There was a high-profile moment in that series where Hagel got hurt, and we didn't have an answer for it.
Yeah.
And I keep going back to it because it was surprising. Yeah. Because in my time here with the organization, and certainly observing them before I came here, that wasn't an issue with the Lightning. You messed with one, you messed with them all, and nothing really transpired from that moment. And I guess I was a little bit surprised by that, and I will be surprised if I see much more of that going forward.
No, I agree. All right, Dave, I know you got work to do. Thank you for your time, my friend. Go see the kids. Tell them we said hello. It was great to see you yesterday.
Yeah, but it was good to see you as well. We were filming a little schedule release video that's going on.
That's going to be nice. I teased it a little bit, but we can't give anything away.
Well,
Franzone will kill us.
I don't have anything to give away in terms of schedule. They didn't give us a schedule, so I can't. I got zipped.
But the schedule release with all the star power, it's just going to be amazing.
JP, before we let Dave go, I have to ask Dave.
Yeah.
Dave, are the Argonauts going to repeat this year, or do my Alouettes have anything for the 112th Grey Cup this year?
You're going to get it going on CFL now?
Yeah. Well, how much time you got, buddy?
Oh, I love the CFL. Everybody knows I love the CFL.
That is awesome. I didn't think I knew that. The Argos are slow out of the gate, buddy. They are. Then they got to win on Sunday night against the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Look at
and I think, listen, that's a long season in the CFL, and there's only 9 teams, so you can get back into it in a hurry. So it's if you ever want to check out a different kind of fun form of football, 3 downs, water field, bigger end zones. It's on CFL Plus.
I love
it for free, and CBS Sports Network carries game.
There it is.
Oh, awesome. All right, thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. CFL update. Didn't think we get that today. Awesome stuff.
See you guys.
See you.
Never know what you're going to get, man. I love the CFL. The Argonauts won the Grey Cup last year. They blew out the Blue Bombers. My Alouettes, man, they're 4-0 right now. I love them.
You know, one of the greatest players in CFL history was my backup in high school. You know that, right? The great
Warren Moon was your backup in high school?
The great Danny McManus.
Danny McManus.
McManus, 3 Grey Cups, right?
Wow.
Right? For Winnipeg. What did he play for? Winnipeg?
That is insane, Danny McManus. He was your backup, huh?
Yeah. Well, he was a sophomore. I was a senior. He was more like he was the JV quarterback and way better than me. I'm like, get out of here, kid.
That is
off my heels.
Man, you know what? There are things about the CFL I would love the NFL to adopt. I love the size of the field. I love the 3 downs. You know, there's no 4th down.
20-yard end zone is ridiculous.
15. It's 15.
Oh, it's 15 now?
Yeah.
Used to be 20, right?
No, it's always been 20. No.
It was 20.
But the depth of the end zone, that's great, man. I love it. And they still have the goalposts.
It's like right in the middle.
On the goal line. Yeah. Like they did in the NFL before.
How do people not get killed just running into that thing?
Because they're Canadians, they're smart.
They're smart, okay.
We know how to do it.
That's just bizarre. And then the the running towards the line of scrimmage is crazy.
You have a man moving forward in motion at the snap. Yeah.
It's
great, man. I love it. I had to get Dave's take on his Argonauts, though. The reigning Grey Cup champions.
Yeah, I was. The first thing we're this morning looking at some of the comments here. Lightning signed Pontus Holmberg and Jacob Pelletier this morning, both at 5'10". First thing I said when they signed him, I'm like asking the interns, how big is he? How big is he?
Yeah.
They're like 6 foot 200. That's not good enough. 5'10", 180. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. We got enough of those guys. What are we doing? We need some beef. Some
they're building
edge.
depth. They're not building size.
Yeah.
I think you kind of need some size there, boys.
Yeah. Is it 15 yards or 20 meters, says Rick?
It's 15 yards, sir.
They're not using the metric. Are they using the metric? No,
not on the football field, no.
Not on the football field, right?
No, it's not meters, it's yards. But they're very close. Yards and meters are almost the same.
Yeah. Yeah, so they signed, is it Pelletier from the Flyers and Flames of last year? He played 59 games with them last year, 19 points. But again, these are depth pieces, but they're not big. I don't know. I but though, as I've said many times, I trust JBB.
Yeah.
But the outlier really is what the Panthers have done. Be able to keep all those guys, that is not what we expected. But let's just be honest about it. And that core is signed through 2030, which most of the Lightning are signed through late in this decade as well. Right. So our cores, and I think, is it fair to say that the two cores are just as good, right? I mean, you're talking about Reinhart, Bennett, Kachuk, Point, Kucherov, Hagel, Sorelli, Vasilevsky, Bobrovsky, Ekblad, McDonough, Seth Jones, Hedman. I mean, you look at the core, pretty even. Pretty even.
Who do you give the coaching advantage to?
Well,
I mean, I would like to think Coop, right? But I don't know after this last playoff series. I'm not sure.
I could say draw.
Okay.
I think it's pretty close. I think it's pretty close. Although, be careful the way I say this. I think
for the team, be careful.
I just think Paul Maurice is a little bit more willing to play in the gray area, and I'm not saying that as a positive.
No, right.
I think what they did and the things they did, not only in this series and other series, is over the line.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Coop subscribes to that.
If he would stoop to that.
Stoop to that. Thank you. That's a better way to put it. I don't think he would stoop to that. I think Cooper is very much, and when it comes to the hockey culture, he definitely ascribes to those values. And there's a line. And I think the Panthers continually cross it. And I don't think it's good for hockey. And I know this sounds like probably sour grapes. And some people would say, well, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And maybe Paul Maurice is willing to tell his players to go over the line in order to win Stanley Cups. And if you want to see that as a coaching advantage, go ahead. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's good for the game. Anybody can go up behind anybody and hit him with an elbow in the back of the head, a key player. Anybody, if we just everybody did what the Panthers did, it would be complete anarchy and chaos.
I will subscribe to that in like NASCAR, but I don't know about hockey. You can't get away with that in hockey. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. No, that's
they got away with it though.
They did for the
They took out Hagel.
Playoffs.
They took out Stolars
for the entire
cheap
playoffs.
Shots. Yes, cheap shots.
And that had to have been a discussion, or it will be a discussion this offseason in the NHL front offices. It has to be.
Damn well better be.
It has to be.
But to Dave's point, how do you control that in hockey? You respond.
You call penalties.
Well, Yeah, but if you're 0 for 15 on the power play, we gotta wear that. We gotta wear that. We got to be better. We got to make them pay for the power on the power play. No question about that. We couldn't do it.
Yeah,
couldn't do it. The power play was just awful. So that's one problem, and that's our problem. But there, the other problem is, so were we supposed to just look? You got to have a response, and I don't think the Lightning's response to the Hagel hit was good enough, or even there. To Dave's point, I was a little surprised at that. But again, who's going to do it? Who do we got? I mean, at some point, it does get down to they got to be afraid of somebody in a Lightning uniform is going to do something. And I don't think they were. And I think that's something we got to rectify.
Hockey teams don't have enforcers anymore. It's a lost art.
Well, in the regular season, they don't need them.
No, and you don't need them at all unless you're playing the Panthers. That's the problem.
Well, we got to beat the Panthers. That's the whole point.
Can Brian Leach come out of retirement?
Enrico Ciccone, Andre Waugh. We'll get our own goons back.
Let's just get it.
But I mean, I hate to say it, but I think it's a thing. If they're going to do that shit, you gotta have some grit. You got to have somebody that's going to make them pay that they're afraid of. I don't think they were afraid of anybody.
No, and the Lightning.
With no Tanner Jeannot.
And the Lightning don't have that guy right now.
It didn't work out well, and I think he just signed. He got a nice deal, but I think maybe the reason he got a nice deal is because people are saying, "Hey, maybe we're going back to a little bit of old time hockey with what the Panthers are doing." Everybody's going to emulate what the winners are doing. Every league's a copycat league, so maybe we're going to throw it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe the pendulums now. People are like, "Oh, we've gotten a little too cute. We got a lot of great skaters out there, and it's great for the game." I mean, the hockey has never been more entertaining, in my opinion, in terms of the skill on the ice. It's never been more. Nobody wants to go back to Goonville. Nobody wants to do that.
Dude, Jeannot got $3.5 million a year.
I know.
What the crap? But Boston.
Well, Boston has no idea what they're doing.
They have nothing going on.
They're just going to get a bunch of goons and just beat the hell out of everybody because they got nothing else. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
We can't score to save their lives, but they're going to beat the crap out of everybody. They're just like,
let's sign and beat the hell out of everybody. See how that works. I mean, but I'm like, at this point, I'm like, bring it back. Bring it back. I don't know.
Oh,
what do you guys
love
think?
Of God.
Yeah. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, I know. It
is.
I have faith in JBB. He knows what the hell he's doing. He knows what the hell he's doing, and I'm not gonna second guess him.
But at what point do you lose faith in JBB? I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's doing.
After what he did last year, look what he pulled off last offseason.
Okay,
you can only do so much with the resources that you have.
Where did it get him?
We lost to the defending champions. That's where it got us. We're one of the top two teams in the league statistically in the regular season. Across the board.
Okay, well, let's go there. Is that consolation?
Listen, we know all about being great in the regular season and being better in the postseason. We wrote the book on that.
Yes.
So I'm not, it's not like JBB doesn't do that. He's got 2 Stanley Cups. So he knows what the hell he's doing. It's just at some point you tip your cap to Jim, what the Panthers have been able to do, and it's not like this huge gap. There's not.
No, not at all.
So, I think we're right there. And
the gap is as big as Seth Jones' jock. That's how big the gap is.
Oh, wow. Hey, now.
I'm just saying. It's a big jock.
Well, I know, but it's not. I don't think it's that big. I don't think that's that big. I don't really feel comfortable going there.
Just win some damn games in the postseason.
Well, how about this? You know what I think it's going to come down to, quite frankly, is who makes the better deals at the deadline next year. And I think there's no question who did that this year. That was the Panthers. And they had the LTIR to work with.
Yep.
They had that
to work with. They don't have that anymore.
That's right. They don't have that anymore. So you got that. But it may come down to that.
Ugh.
And that's okay. Well, and if you have a little bit of cap freedom, maybe to go do some stuff, we'll see.
Are the Lightning the Bucs of the NHL?
Yeah, you could say that. They're right on the cusp, as we
I'm sure Scott Reynolds will have something to say about that.
Expertly segue to our next guest.
Yeah, how'd you like that?
Ooh, Bucs and Lightning. You caught my attention. How are you?
Yeah, that was a dual segue.
That was
Tim handed it to me. It was a double reverse. Tim handed it to me, and then I handed it right to you. How about that?
Drop the ball like Jalen McMillan did.
Oh, you had to go there.
I had to ruin it, Tim. Come on.
Golly, we're on such a roll too.
I know,
but he's right.
So were the Bucs.
That's
to that end
today, Tim. Damn.
Yeah. To that end, Scott, I don't know why, but I've just been obsessed with going back and watching the Washington Redskins.
He did. He is punishing himself watching that wild card game from last year.
Yeah.
Lots of missed opportunities there.
Yeah. It's funny. We forget, right? That's why I go back and watch it. And I was like, boy, how the F did we lose this game?
Yeah.
How the hell do we, and I got, by the way, I have answers.
Okay.
A terrible pass defense.
Yeah.
Lord.
Really bad.
Which was part of the issue all year long. Wide open middle, guys wide open in the end zone, big 3rd and 4th down plays, guys wide open.
Yeah.
The Bucs got out coached schematically, outplayed, and they missed opportunities in crucial moments.
Yeah. But the Bucs defense also held Washington to 2 turnovers on downs in
they did.
2 of their 8 offensive series.
It's kind of nuts because if you look at what Washington did the next week in Detroit, they just completely dominated and dismantled the Lions in their own den.
Yeah.
And so, I hate, listen, every Sunday is different. And I don't know that there's even if you ask coaches, there's not a lot of correlation from one week to the next because it's just different
injuries, matchups,
injuries, matchup, weather, opponents, right? Motivation, things like that. There's so many different X factors in a weekly basis. That's what makes football so much fun on any given Sunday, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at how Washington, which was a team that was like the Bucs, averaging 30 points per game, just light up the Lions defense and also got a bunch of turnovers too, right? They really kind of victimized Jared Goff. But it kind of makes, and I don't want to excuse Todd Bowles and his defense too much because they did not force a punt. They did not get off the field on 3rd downs. They didn't create any takeaways. But what they did do was they held Washington to 20 points up until the last second field goal, and they got 23. That was the winning points right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad for the playoffs, especially against the team that's averaging 30 points per game. You're holding them for up until the last second, 10 points below their average. Conversely speaking, the Bucs were averaging 30 points per game, and they got held 10 points below their average. So it was a really close game. And you can skew the stats any way you want to make it look really, really bad for the Bucs or make it close. And I'm not saying either way you skew it is wrong because there's a lot to work with there, right? As you mentioned, Tim, they did stop them on a couple of 4th downs, right? But the thing is they didn't stop them on 3rd downs and they didn't force a punt.
That's right.
And you had the Jamel Dean injury that came in, and I can think of 2 plays that Josh Hayes allowed. Yeah. The touchdown on 4th down, Terry McLaurin, that was huge.
Yep.
And then
32 was very visible in the last quarter.
There's no doubt. And then I want to say it was a 21-yard catch and run by De'Ami Brown on 3rd and 6, where I called it from the press box. I turned to my PR crew and I said, "This is Josh Hayes is it's coming your way." And it was. and that was the play that allowed them to go, I believe, across midfield and closer to field goal range.
You should have told Bowles that. Not your PR crew.
I mean, I first of all, I don't have a direct line.
We need to fix that. We need to fix that.
Todd,
that needs to be addressed.
It's coming your way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, like that's, I don't want to say that's on Jamel Dean, but Jamel Dean wasn't in the game. For all of Jamel's faults, I think every Buccaneer fan out there would rather have Jamel Dean in those instances than Josh Hayes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like disparage Jamel all you want. I'm not necessarily in that camp, but if it makes you feel better, fine. But don't tell me you wouldn't rather have a healthy Jamel Dean in that situation rather than Josh Hayes. You would. So don't lie about it, right? And then again, on the offensive side, I mean, the Bucs offense was kind of held in check. It was not that it went anywhere close to the 37 they dropped on Washington the first go around, right?
Well, it's because they didn't have the ball, and this is where you get in trouble looking at points given up. The reason the Bucs defense was awful, not because they gave up 23 points, it's because they gave up 37 minutes of possession time.
Right.
And the Bucs offense only ran 44 plays.
Do you have the game book handy?
They had 8.
The Bucs had 7.
Bucs had 7. Washington had 8.
Right. How many times did they score in those possessions? How many?
The Bucs?
Yeah.
I think they scored on 5 of their 7 possessions. 4 or 5. Yeah,
Okay.
no, the offense was fine. They only ran 44 plays.
Fine.
Baker was 15 for 18.
But you took a lot of field goals where you needed touchdowns.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
touchdowns win games. Field goals only win games when it's a last second field goal.
So game management was key. And we say all this to say what derails the Buccaneers next year. Like what the roster we both agree is a championship roster. Like they've added we said last year, I think we're a year away. Probably need to add an edge rusher, maybe get a little bit better in the secondary. What did we do in the offseason? Added an edge rusher, got better in the secondary.
I agree.
And so this team is ready. It's
so to
ready
answer
to
your
win.
question, what stops the Bucs themselves and injuries, really, because this is a team that, and say what you want, Todd Bowles has put out some defensive masterpieces. He has. He's capable of doing that.
Absolutely.
And I think what we've seen, whether it's against a crap team like the New York Giants or, a playoff caliber team, say what you want about the Chargers. They're a playoff caliber team. Went to the playoffs last year. When Bowles has a lead, he gets in his bag and good things usually happen. Right. And those games, plus you can throw in the Saints game too, which was really fluky in the first half.
Yeah.
Some of those interceptions. Remember, the Saints actually led at halftime of that game in New Orleans. But then the Buccaneers ended up dropping a 50 burger on him because Bowles' defense came alive in the second half, got some takeaways, I think shut him out. The offense came to life, ran wild. So that's my point is when you have a lead for Bowles, the Bucs defense, regardless of injuries or lack of personnel, whatever, like they can turn it on. So now if you have a healthier secondary, a healthier defense with more talent that have the ability to take away the ball more often because of more ball hawks, if you have all those factors in this year and Josh Grizzard and that offense can get some similar leads, I think you're going to have more blowouts. In other words, the frequency of games where the Buccaneers win by double digits increases. And then I think in some of those games, like the Washington game last year where it was close, where if the defense can just sometimes wear the superhero cape and the offense doesn't have to wear it, then I think that the defense can bail out the offense a couple of times. But I don't think the defense was capable of bailing out the offense last year. No, and that to me is why I said the offense deserves some of the blame in that Washington game, because at no point really did the Bucs defense act like a superhero last year. It was a sidekick. And so when the Bucs offense was not at superhero level and you're going up against good teams, the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Ravens, you're not going to win because the Bucs defense was a sidekick. If this can be more like the Avengers or the X-Men, where you've got multiple superheroes on offense and defense, then I think your chances of winning increase, because the offense has a bad day. Even if it's in the playoffs, you can survive that as long as you have a superhero defense, not a sidekick defense.
And to that point, another game I went back and watched was the Detroit Lions win. Yeah. And the thing that jumped off the screen there was the guy wearing number 8. Yeah. And that's Servassier Dennis. And remember the play. What's it? Yeah. And remember the play he makes on, I think it was Jamar Gibbs. Yep. Where he actually is, and it's in the red zone where they crushed Detroit. That was where they won that game defensively in the red zone. I think they were 1 for 7. And he actually is on across almost on the other hash, the far hash. Yeah. At the snap, he has to shift over to the left side of the formation defensively, and they're running a screen to the other side. He comes across the field, and it gets there so quickly and explosively that Frank Ragnow, who's out front, doesn't even see him because he's coming from behind, and Caps Jameer and it was the play of the was the play of the game. It forced the fourth down. I mean, And I'm like, oh, yeah, J.J. Russell ain't making that play.
No.
52 ain't
making it. Bob
that
Jones
play.
isn't making it. No.
No. And all throughout, and he made a bunch of
you know
those
what?
plays.
Levante David's not making it either.
No.
Yeah.
Like at age 34/35, he's a very good player. You want Levante David on your team as opposed to not having him on your team. But Servacio Dennis has the chance because of the youth in any Bucs linebacker. Levante David, Derek Brooks, Hardy Nickerson, Shelton Quarles. Some of the best will tell you football's a young man's game.
Yep.
Right? Speed kills in the NFL. It always has. It always will. And Servacio Dennis has the opportunity to be, and we'll see where his ceiling is. I mean, can he be another Levante David? I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe he will. Yep. But you know what? If he is a Shelton Quarles, like circa 2002, when he was the middle linebacker for the Bucs Super Bowl team, or like in some years, like an upper echelon when Mason Foster was playing his best, or Barrett Ruud, when they were playing at their best. I'm not saying season-long Barrett Ruud or season-long Mason Foster, but a couple of those high-end performances, if Servacio Dennis can hit that mark and be another Shelton Quarles for this team,
I'll take it.
I'll take it,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a huge addition.
Oh, and by the way, if he's the next Derek Brooks or Levante David or Hardy Nickerson, by all means. We'll take that. We'll take that too.
I think the big one of the other things, speaking defensively, is, and we've talked about this a little bit, but we think there's going to be more changes defensively, scheme-wise, and I think it's going to be dramatic, to be quite honest. I think we're going to see a much more aggressive team from the corners. Todd's talked about this. And I think with Benjamin Morrison especially, and Jacob Parrish, both of these guys they were drafted for a reason. Is because they can play press and they can get after you, and they're physical guys.
Yeah. And
I think that's going to, it's another thing going back and looking at those games. One thing you can't, I think Zion can be physical at times, but these two guys are different. They're wired differently than Dean and Zion, who I think are good players. And I think Zion could be a really great player in this league. But these other two guys are just kind of different cats. They're built different. They're thick. They're strong. They're fast. They're quick, and they're aggressive. And I think that's going to help this team dramatically. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I love Zion, and I'm not here to disparage Zion. Friend of the program, he's been on our show a couple times. I really like Zion as a player and a person. And we've had some conversations about certain things, and if you look at like Xavier Worthy, number 1 draft pick, fastest dude in the NFL, Zion McCollum erased him on Monday night. I mean, I don't even think he got a target or two. Maybe I think he had 1 catch for like a couple yards, but Zion just absolutely erased him. Zion is an athlete. He's also a football player too. I'm not going to say he's not, but the bigger, more physical receivers, you think like CeeDee Lamb. Remember that where he kind of got big boyed by CeeDee on that deep catch and on Sunday night against the Cowboys.
Cowgirls.
Juwan Jennings. I thought Juwan Jennings really out-physicaled him, outboxed him. The 49ers game was probably Zion's worst last year. And CeeDee has some speed. Juwan Jennings is not. Juwan Jennings was an undrafted free agent because the dude runs like a 4.65 or 4.7. But he's just a scrappy, physical, yards after catch. He's a tackle-breaking receiver is really what he is. He's a little bit of a unicorn. And I know like Deebo Samuel and all them got the headlines. I mean, last year, Juwan Jennings had 77 catches for 975 yards and 8 touchdowns. That was second behind George Kittle. He had more catches and targets than Deebo Samuel, Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk. Obviously, Ayuk was injured.
And his average per catch was nice too. Yeah, because he got the yak. He's a good player.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 12.7 yards. So my point is Zion, I think, struggles against the more physical, bigger type of wide receivers. Like, for example, maybe this is the year the Bucs play A.J. Brown in Philly, right?
Let's hope not.
Well, I know, but the last 2 games have been blowouts in the Bucs' favor, and not having A.J. Brown is one of those reasons. And if Zion is going up against A.J. Brown, that's going to be a real test for Zion. That's going to be a real test because he's a big, fast, physical DK Metcalf type receiver, and we'll see how he fares against them. But yeah, I generally speaking, I agree with everything you're saying. I think this defense has the chance. The secondary, to play more press man, to be more physical. They have the horses to do it. They just have to kind of do it. And one thing I do like is there's more talent there, because I think last year we saw, whether Zion in some certain instances or Jamel, give up a little too much cushion, much to what the coaches didn't want to see. That wasn't the game plan. Go play 7 yards off. The problem is when Jamel, gets burned on a play and then he gets like a little gun shy, a little shell shocked, and he starts to play back and give more cushion, right? Because maybe that knee's like tweaking a little bit or whatever, and he doesn't feel like it's comfortable, whatever. Maybe Zion's dealing with something, whatever. The problem is the coaches, I hate to say it, the coaches were kind of, there's nothing they could do about it. What are they going to do? Jamel, you're coming out and putting Josh Hayes in. Nobody wants to see Josh Hayes play defense. Really?
Well, your players have to do what you tell them to do. I mean, if they're not,
but my point is,
on the coaching.
What's the consequence? What's the consequence?
Well, the
consequence is,
I know there needs to be consequence, but other than, can I not just say, hey, if you want your guys in press and they're not doing press, yeah, I know the only thing you could do is take them out, but can't we just get them to, or be better coaches? Like, I'm sorry, like if you can't get a guy to press when you want him to press, that's bad coaching.
Of course it is.
Whatever your method is, whether bad. You got it.
We had Todd Bowles on our podcast. I asked him this question. He's like, I didn't want to see them play that much cushion. I didn't want that. But then now what you do, exactly, you fix it. How do you fix it? You get players that you can turn to. All right, Jamel, you're out.
Or you get the guys that are in there to do the right thing. That's part of coaching too.
But when there's a huge talent gap, right?
I understand.
Are you going to take out Jamel Dean and put in Tyreek Funderburk? We saw how that worked. We saw how Josh Hayes worked. Bryce Hall, loved the guy. He broke his fibula or whatever in the first week, right? So here's a case in point. Remember how Rachaad White tiptoed and danced in the hole, right, in 2023? And we're kind of like, man, like this guy, he has to run with a sense of urgency, right? And he's averaging 2.5 yards, 3 yards a carry, right? Well, they drafted Bucky Irving, and Bucky Irving is in training camp. And Rachaad, of course, he's the starter last year, and he's tiptoeing through the holes, and he's, not accelerating, not getting the second level, whatever, spending too much time reading the blocks, being a little passive, whatever. Yeah. Okay, well, when he comes over to Skip Pete, the running backs coach, and I saw this like firsthand in training camp practices last year, and Skip puts his arm around him and says, now watch Bucky hit the hole, all right? And Bucky hits the hole because Bucky didn't have like breakaway speed,
right?
But he has instant acceleration. He gets through the hole. And then he says, all right, now, Rachaad, I want you to go out there and do that. And then all of a sudden, boom, what happens? Yeah, better run blocking for sure. But all of a sudden, Rachaad gets 4.7 yards per carry, which is about a yard below Bucky, right? But still, like 4.7 yards a carry. Pretty good. 4.3, whatever it was. Big time improvement. Yeah. Because if he didn't do it the right way, he's going to get less opportunities because there's somebody on the sideline who's willing to do it, who's just as good, if not better.
Yeah, I understand how it
now
works.
The Bucs, and I'm not making excuses. I mean, I've had conversations on and off the record with a lot of people, and it's like, listen, I love Jason Light. He's the best general manager in team history. He knows he didn't do enough in terms of depth last year, and it came back to bite this team in certain areas. Wide receiver was one, even though they drafted Jalen McMillan, and cornerback was the other. And you know what? Todd and Jason both wanted Tyreek Funderburk on the team, okay? So it's both of their faults. The problem is this cat deserved to be on the practice squad. He was not ready for primetime. He was not, and he's not going to make the team this year.
Yeah.
Okay? But yet he was starting a couple games last year. Josh Hayes will make the team as cornerback number 6 because he's an elite gunner. He is a Ryan Smith type cornerback who is a special teams demon. You need guys like that. But you don't want them at cornerback 3. You want them at cornerback 6. It's where he belongs on the depth chart.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim, you want to jump in here?
Oh no, I got nothing more. I mean, Scott's has covered everything for us: the defense, the offense, Todd Bowles. But I mean,
we haven't talked about the contract extensions for
that was gonna be my question, Scott. We talked about it on the show here about why we think Todd got an extension, and I wrote and I did a podcast on not because he deserved it, not because it was a reward for past performance, but JP and I postulated that it was more just to keep the continuity going and so that there was no distraction of a talk about his contract status through 2025 like we had with the Cowboys last year with Mike McCarthy that turned into a complete disaster here in Dallas because that's all anybody talked about all year. And Jason Light, of course, and the Glazers preach continuity, consistency, and ambiguity, and just it's all out on the table with there in Tampa, unlike here in Dallas. And that's why I think he got an extension, not because he's
it's smart.
Rewarded.
I think it's smart by the Glazers.
It's very smart. Yes,
you just remove that talking point.
Yep.
Nobody's going to talk about it now, and I think that's super smart. And I think Todd deserved it to some degree, obviously.
Yeah,
but I mean, more than anything, the analogy and the comparison to what happened in Dallas last year is spot on. You don't want that.
Correct. You don't want that. I do know that Glazers were incredibly frustrated. I mean, even with Pewter Report to a degree, because I think we've tried to call it like we see it, right? I mean, at 4-6. 2 years in a row, like it wasn't looking good, like, I mean, we're just being honest. We take the approach about an entire season is we're going to take your picture each week, each Sunday or Monday night or Thursday night, whatever. We're going to take your picture. And if it's a great picture, we'll let you know, hey man, this is a great picture. If you're making a funny face in the picture and it's not very good, we're going to write about it. We're going to talk about it. Right. The great thing is if you don't like the picture, you have a chance to do a retake the next week. And maybe that picture's better, right? So, and then we look at all the pictures at the end of the season and we say, hey, there were more great pictures than bad pictures here, right? And that's just kind of how we assess it. But yeah, I think that the Glazers are all in on Todd Bowles. I wrote about this in my SR's Fab 5 last week. I mean, all in. Like, all in.
Yeah.
They love Todd. Remember, and this is very important, and I don't think other outlets have maybe talked about it like we have at Pewter Report. I think it's hugely important to understand. They had a chance to keep the shiny new toy in Liam Cohen if they wanted. They had the chance right there to say, gosh, you know what? Looking at this season, wow, Liam's offense wore the superhero cape all season. They were the reason why we won 10 games. And Todd, boy, your defense didn't really show up in the playoffs. No forced punts, no takeaways. It's kind of been a season-long issue. Yeah, you've had some injuries, but we're going to hit the ejection seat button on you, and we're gonna do the swap, and we're going to go that direction. And they've kind of done that in the past with John Gruden for Tony Dungy, different circumstances, of course. They've kind of done that to a degree with Raheem Morris and John Gruden, because Raheem was like the next Mike Tomlin, right? And I think that wisdom, which comes with age, and this is my 30th year covering the team. It's also the 30th year that Glazers have been in ownership. We both came in 95. I think wisdom has set in and said, wow, the last time we did this, we did this twice. We got rid of the legend in Tony Dungy, and we had the Hail Mary. We got John Gruden, and we won the Super Bowl the next year. Malcolm could do no wrong, right? Well, they tried that again with John Gruden and Raheem Morris. Yeah. And that set upon a decade of darkness, which the Glazers get credit for getting the Bucs out of a previous decade of darkness, like 13 years or 14, whatever it was, with, firing Sam Weish after 95, hiring Tony Dungy, all of a sudden playoffs in 97, and you have a playoff caliber, Super Bowl caliber team for a while. John Gruden comes in. They have the ups and the downs with Gruden, but John Gruden's still the all-time winningest coach in Tampa Bay history. And they thought they could do it again, and it blew up in their face. They didn't make the playoffs. They had, 2 seasons with winning records? 10-6 with Josh Freeman at quarterback, and then a 9-7 under Dirk Cutter, right? Yeah. And that's it. So I think that they understand patience now, and leadership of men is important.
Absolutely.
This locker room, and I'm telling you this, Buccaneer fans, the God's honest truth. I've covered the Tony Dungy era in its totality, the John Gruden era in its totality, and the Bruce Arians era in its totality. Those are the three best coaches in franchise history. Say what you want about John McKay. There's a lot of losing there. Yes, he brought this team up in 97. I'm not trying to crap on John McKay, but it's like John McKay is like way down fourth on the list compared to those three guys.
He wanted to execute his offense.
He had a 3-year run. That was
sure.
it.
Yeah, and it was a different era.
Yeah.
He was handicapped with an expansion franchise. I get all that.
I mean, NFC Championship game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was remarkable given the fact there was no free agency back then. So I'm not crapping on him. But what I'm saying though is looking at the number of wins, the winning percentage, all of that.
Those are the three best.
Those are the three best.
Sure. Yeah.
This locker room is tighter, better camaraderie, better chemistry, all rowing in the same direction under Todd Bowles than it ever did under Arians or Gruden or Dungy. And there's something to be said for that. Because when you mix in talent and team unity and chemistry, eventually, and if you throw in some luck too, with injuries, that is the recipe for a championship. I mean, you can say what you want about who won the Super Bowl, Tony's team, Gruden's offense, Monty's defense.
It's all part of it.
Tom Brady, Shaq Barrett, Todd Bowles. The common denominator in both of those Super Bowls was health. The most marquee player on injured reserve in 2002 was the nose tackle Booger McFarland.
Booger.
That was it.
And if you asked Monty Kiffin, may he rest in peace, to rank all of the 11 starters from most important, number one, which is the under tackle Warren Sapp. Number two would be weak side linebacker Derek Brooks in terms of position.
Right.
The value of the positions. Number three would be strong safety John Lynch, because that was a thing back in the day, that enforcer across the middle. Nose tackle is probably down there 10 or 11. It's like with strong side linebacker. That's just the value of it. So when the most important player, most important piece is your nose tackle, and you got by with the Chuck and Buck show, Buck Gurley and Chartrick Darby filled in. You didn't miss Booger. I mean, ask Rich Gannon. And then in the Super Bowl season, who was the most
Booger
injured
watches
player
the show.
I love Booger, but I'm keeping it real, right? I mean, that's why you had me on.
He had his moments, but that wasn't one of them.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
He was injured reserve. But then
point being, this is a great chemistry. Those teams were healthy, and they need to be healthy.
In the 2002, Alex Kappa, the right guard, was the other guy. He was the most marquee guy in injured reserve. The second guy was like the third tight end, O.J. Howard, behind Gronk and Cam Brate. So these two teams were incredibly healthy Buccaneer teams to win the Super Bowl. That can't go unnoticed. So, the Buccaneers, hey, I think we're all probably agreeing that the Buccaneers have 3 Super Bowls. If Tristan Wirfs and Chris Godwin are available, not even AB, he pieced out. But I'm saying, you give me Chris Godwin, Tristan Wirfs against the Rams in 2021. The Buccaneers win that game.
I agree.
They represent the NFC. They beat the Bengals, and they have back-to-back Super Bowl championships.
I agree.
So we'll see what happens. They have to have injuries, but I'm with you. I think this is a Super Bowl caliber team, and I think Todd Bowles deserves the contract extension. And the other thing too is,
I think he deserves it, but I do think a lot of it is let's take that issue off the table.
Yeah, let's remove any heat. His seat is ice cold. He's not on the hot seat. But I think the other thing too is the timing of this. This was after Todd Bowles voluntarily made necessary changes to the coaching staff.
Yep.
Got a game day management guy voluntarily.
Yep.
And
tweaked
then
his defense.
And then after the draft, where he insisted on getting ball hawks and saying, "Hey, we're not going to have 7 interceptions again. I'll be damned." And he's said and done all of the right things this offseason. And some of the things that he's done, I've criticized him for. So I have to give him credit now, and I want to give him credit. I'm happy to give him credit for fixing some of those things, because they need to be fixed. And so I think now is the right time. Like, hey, Todd, you did everything you could this offseason to become better as a head coach, a defensive coordinator, and get our roster better. And
how much is he making? You know everything. How much is he
I
making?
don't know that. I don't know that. No, I don't. No, I mean, he was the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league.
Yeah.
After winning the Super Bowl, the Bucs have done that twice.
The
with
word on
Monty
the street was he was
Kiffin,
making $3 million last year or in
Okay.
the last contract.
That sounds reasonable. Yeah.
God, when Kirby Smart's making 12, like how the hell does that work?
That's college, JP.
A lot more than I.
Where did we go? How did it happen? Like, remember, like college coaches like would make half of what. Now what these guys are making way more.
Well, college coaches used to have the entire offseason to golf and just do spring,
they got
spring
no
golf
time.
for like 2 weeks.
They
Now
work a lot harder than NFL
year-round
coaches.
recruiting and
Oh my
roster
God.
management, and it's a friggin' mess, man.
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah,
All right, Scotty, tell everybody how they can get your great content. What are you guys even talking about right now?
What are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about our boldest takes.
Our boldest
today's
takes. All right.
To the Report podcast at 4:00.
Are you already talking about the possibility of Josh Grizzard moving on as a head coach next year?
I heard you guys talking the other day about Josh Grizzard. Well, he might be the next head coach.
You can't, Tim. You can't put that out there.
It's already being
Don't speak it into the existence, man.
It's already being discussed. This is way too early for this. I don't have time.
Hey, man.
Somebody asked which missing ring hurts more, 99 or 21?
Ooh.
Oh,
wow.
79. What about 79?
79.
Yeah, that's the count.
That's a missing ring too.
We were lucky to get
the
to where we
interesting
were.
thing about 79 was they lost the NFC Championship game here in Tampa. So
to the Rams, right?
Yeah, there's a sting in that you lost it on your home turf.
And the way we lost it.
In the sombrero.
Yeah, the Ricky Prohl touchdown against the Rams was really tough.
That was pretty bad.
And
the Herculean effort by the
non-catch by
the Bert Emanuel catch.
Bert Emanuel.
Yeah,
that would because we go into that Super Bowl. And just it was the Titans, right? The Titans that the Rams beat.
Yeah.
We crushed them.
Scott,
Probably.
best, greatest quarterback in the history of the Bucs, not named Tom Brady. Please say it's Brad Johnson.
Baker Mayfield.
Well, wow, already. Wow.
Okay, wait. Here's the thing.
I'm not disagreeing. I just didn't think of his name. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you're drafting the team right now and Tom Brady's off the board, who are you drafting to be the Buccaneer quarterback in 2025?
Like of all the quarterbacks available right now or that are playing right now?
All of the Buccaneer quarterbacks that they've ever played.
Oh, Buccaneer quarterbacks.
Right
Steve Young. That's
okay.
Steve Spurrier.
That didn't count.
Just blew up my own question with the
smart ass. Smart
ass. I deserved it. You got
it. You did. You didn't know. I'm an old guy. I remember stuff like that.
You're
but after him, there's a
reason he got traded to San Francisco, right?
There's a picture of me and Brad Johnson on the wall over here when we're both like 12 years old. So there's no way that I can say Baker Mayfield. Until I get a picture with Baker Mayfield.
I love the Bull, but just like, for example, like if John Lynch were to be drafted into this day and age in the NFL, he's not a Hall of Famer because John Lynch's hits and his
they're all illegal.
Yeah, they're illegal, and it just his reputation, the presence. How many non-catches happened because of people being fearful about John Lynch drilling?
Oh, they didn't even run the plays. They didn't run the plays.
Exactly.
Like
so I'm just
closed.
Saying, he had such an impact with his hits and also just his reputation
and his run support. I mean, it was like
no doubt. Except against Barry Sanders, and John would tell you that.
When Vinny Testaverde played in Dallas, we called him Vinny Interceptaverdi.
Yeah. That's certainly
no. I think Baker. It's funny.
The reason I say Baker is because of the leadership, the moxie.
Yeah.
He's more of a prolific passer. Where Brad Johnson. Here's the thing: if you put Brad Johnson in this offense, I'm not sure he's successful. I'm not sure he's as successful in this offense as Baker Mayfield is.
But man, him and Gruden had something together, though.
They did.
I don't know.
They did. But if you take Baker
with
Mayfield,
those weapons and Brad's arm
Mayfield and put him back in the 2002 team, I think he's just as effective as Brad Johnson was.
Yeah,
and I love Brad.
I'm not disagreeing with you. That's just not a name that
I'm going with Brad.
My head.
I'm going with Brad.
Okay.
The intangibles.
It has nothing to do with your Florida State allegiances.
Nothing.
Nothing to do with that.
All right, JP.
These garnet gold glasses are not what you think they are.
Exactly.
Not what you think you are.
When Baker wins the Super Bowl with the Bucs, will he supplant Brad?
Yes, of course. Okay. Well, and also yesterday I was watching Ronnie Barber's show, and they were going through all the quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah,
and he was saying Baker or
like Tua or Baker or Justin Herbert. Yeah, I would take Baker.
Oh,
over
absolutely.
A lot of them.
He said Baker over Justin Herbert, which most people wouldn't do, but I agree.
Yep.
He said Baker over Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
In terms of,
I would do that. Yes.
Yeah. In terms of passing, yes.
And leadership.
Well, no, we have to take the whole enchilada, and I would take Baker too, but that's a tough one.
Jalen Hurts is not a leader of men.
Here's the thing: if you put Baker and Jalen Hurts, if you put Baker in the Philly offense, I think Baker is just as successful. It might look a little different, but I think he's just as successful.
So you're in the camp that he can win the MVP then?
Yeah,
Baker, because there's a lot of people like, no, he can't win it just because that's not what the NFL does. He's not a bona fide star. He's got too many
Trophy winner.
I know, but I hear all this and I'm like,
draft pick.
He's got the name recognition. He really does.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not Tom Brady, right, in terms of Bucs quarterbacks, but
I mean, last year his numbers were MVP.
Exactly.
They were.
Just because he's played for 4 teams and 30 offensive coordinators.
Yeah.
Doesn't
he
mean
finished 11th. My God.
Well, I'll say this. The problem with the Buccaneers last year, and I think it impacted Pro Bowl voting across the board, I think it impacted Baker Mayfield, is they didn't show up in prime time.
Yeah. Yes.
I think the most important game on the Bucs schedule, believe it or not, is week 2 and Houston. It's the most important. Because here's the thing. If you go to Atlanta and you beat the Falcons, get revenge, and you take care of business in Houston, you're 2-0 heading into the Jets game, which is winnable at home with a chance to be 3-0, and that's a great start. Well, anybody would take that. But if you lose in week 1 and you lose in week 2, I'm not saying it's over. But what I'm saying is it's a situation where you really have to get on a run because 0-2 is bad. The other thing too is because the Bucs were 0-5 in primetime last year, including the Commodes game in the playoffs. You better win that game and get that narrative dead and buried. Otherwise, it's now they're 0-6 against in primetime games. So there's a reason why. And if the Bucs can win that game in Houston and do it like in grandiose style, what I'm talking about is like, see what happened last year in LA against the Chargers, have that type of game in week 2. And all of a sudden, especially if the Buccaneers win in week 1 at 1:00 against the Falcons, right? That's not a national primetime game, but that game's going to be talked about. The outcome of that game is going to be talked about a lot heading into that Monday night game. Either Buccaneers have a chance to go 2-0 or, the Buccaneers need to bounce back from last week's loss at Atlanta. They've lost 3 straight to the Falcons, whatever. If Baker blows up on Monday night in week 2 and the Buccaneers get a win, that is an early momentum push. That's got to be continued against the Lions, against the Rams. Every primetime game, Baker needs to show up and show out. Then, if he does that, then he goes head-to-head against last year's MVP winner in Buffalo. And if he plays even or has a better game than Josh Allen, that's how he can really get in the conversation. I mean, not like top 11. I'm saying like top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Where it's like Mahomes, Baker, and Lamar. Like if you can get in that conversation, then the stats kind of matter. Oh, and by the way, then you have the whole nation watching the creamsicle game, week 15 at the end of the season on Thursday night, only game in town to put the exclamation point on your MVP candidacy. So
and you're going to be wearing a creamsicle uniform. Jesus.
And the key to beating Houston in week 2 is on Todd Bowles because it's going to depend if he's got this newish defense and these young defensive players and Hassan Reddick. If he can get that defense to click by week 2, that the Houston offensive line is horrible. Nick Caserio spent $75 million 2 years ago on the offensive line, and now Kenyon Green is gone because he sucked and he was hurt. Laramie Tunsil is gone. Their offensive line is horrible. So get pressure on Stroud, and he's going to look like a sophomore in college again.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, Scotty. Thank you for your time. As usual, appreciate you. Pewter Report all day, all week, everywhere. You know where to get it.
Yep.
Thanks, partner. The great Scott Reynolds. All right, we got to take a break. Holy shiz bang.
Yeah, we
Thank
haven't
you
taken
to
a
our
break in like 3 days.
Thank you to our great sponsors, Riveters, Italiano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source, On-Site Construction, Third Generation Plumbing, Cafe Paradiso, the Jeeves Law Group, and Don'tGoUncovered.com. Thank you guys so much. Quick break. We will come back and jump right into the Rays as well. Stay with us. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Riveters. Hanging out there this week, and boy, it is such a great location. Right there, just a mile, about a half a mile south of the Stein and Ray J. The food is absolutely fantastic. The vibe is great. They got indoor-outdoor deal going there. Really nice place to hang out for happy hour, which starts at 3 o'clock. So get there at 3 to 7 o'clock and take advantage of the great specials: $3 domestics, $5 well drinks, and then everything else is on sale as well. The food is fantastic, and you can make a meal of it anytime just for the appetizers. $8 chicken dip. The buffalo chicken dip is absolutely fabulous. Everything made fresh, no freezers except for the ice cream. And it's fantastic. RivetersTampa.com. Check it out. We love those folks.
John McKay, how do you feel about the execution of your offense? I'm in favor of it.
I'm on board. Execute them. He had so many great quotes.
He did, man. He was great.
So we get to some comments. Speaking of great quotes.
I don't know, man. We haven't done anything but talk to people on this show so far today. What's going on with us?
Rick says, good morning, JP. Dennis Phillips on ABC is looking for people to interview on his new nightly show. Make it happen. I'll be definitely reaching out to him, or he'll be reaching out to me.
First question he's going to ask is, JP, what kind of athlete were you in middle school?
And I'll say to him,
brag a little. I was an all-pro at every sport in elementary school.
In middle school.
And middle school. Don't forget that. Mike H says Caballero got picked off third last night. Yeah, in a one-run game. That was bad. The third base and is holding them on. Like you're way off the bag. That was, and they got together on the mound right before and basically said, yeah, when he jumps off the base, we're going to get him. So come on, we got to be better than that. Yeah, I think we've gotten to the point where we're like, okay, we're killing everybody and everything's going our way on the bases. Well, teams adjust, and we need to adjust. Stop throwing away base runners. That's ridiculous. And Aranda comes up and pinch hits for Morel, who had a home run last night. The more heat I give him, the better he is. He had a solo shot, and Aranda pinch hits for him and absolutely hits it right on the button. And it came up about 2 feet short of going out, or we win the game with that, or we win the game if Caballero scores from third and doesn't get picked off. 1 out, just stupid stuff. A lot of stupid stuff last night, and last 2 nights, really, we had great opportunities. Ball didn't bounce our way, and that's baseball. But this is still a very good team. By the way, Shane Baz was freaking awesome last night. 20 swings and misses, career high. His stuff was electric last night. I mean, the fastball, throwing it by guys at the high cheese at 99. And it's just effort. With Shane Baz, it's just effortless. And that knuckle curve of his is just freaking devastating. Devastating. So, I mean, you had a lot of good stuff last night, but you got to win games. Got to win games, and it comes down to the small things sometimes, and they did not do the small things the last 2 nights. RJ Martin says, good morning, guys. Still upset we didn't bunt Walls over in the 10th last night. Junior hits him in if he does. Yeah, see, the A's played small ball, which is typically what you do if you're the road team, right? You put the pressure on, get him over, get him in. We didn't do that. We tried to go for the bigger inning, and it almost worked out. But couldn't get the big hit. But, is that a mistake by Cash? I don't know. You got your good hitters coming up. I think you want to let them hit.
Well, and you're in a slump right now, and slumps happen throughout the course of a 162-game season. So, you just got to throw out there whoever you think is going to be successful at that particular moment against that particular pitcher, and it doesn't always work. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
You'll get out of this slump. It's losing 4 or 5 to last place teams. By the way, you'll come out of it. It's just don't read too much into it. It's fine.
We get Toronto 7 more times, 4 at the Stein and 3 in Toronto, all in September, says Daniel Rivera. Those will be big games, big games, and that's good. Michael LaRue says Lightning are on a Winnipeg Jets left winger Nikolai Ehlers. How do you pronounce that?
Ehlers.
I would think they would have to move either Oliver Bjorkstrand or Eric Chernak to make that happen. I agree, Michael. I still think there's some moves to come because as Dave Randorf said, as Tim said, as I've said, I think our cores are even right now, but we need to add a little bit more depth. And whether that comes now or at the deadline, we shall see. And by the way, the Panthers now, they're going to be stiff against the cap for years to come.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Out of the $95.5 million cap next season, they're over $2 million right now.
So they're not going to have any room to maneuver, add guys at the deadline unless they move guys out. It's going to be very difficult for them to adjust on the fly. And they may not need to if all their guys are healthy, but there's a lot of hockey to play, and there's a lot of injuries that can happen. So it's not just, oh, we're not as good as the Panthers. What's the point? There's a lot. We're right there. We're right there. And I think because we've lost 3 years in a row in the first round, people just don't think so. Yeah. But you got to look at it in context and who we lost to and when we lost to and why we lost to them.
Hey, at least you haven't been to 3 straight Western Conference finals and then fired your coach and then hired a coach that you had 10 years ago and you didn't like him, so you fired him then, but now he's great, so now you're going to rehire him, because that's what we're dealing with in Dallas.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Glenn Gulletson. I'm not a fan of Glenn Gulletson.
I don't. I'm so glad we just kept Cooper. Just kept him.
You should be. You guys embrace it.
And the idea that, I think there were some people who were like, oh, if he loses in the first round again, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Oh, shut up.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they lost to the Panthers. The
both
best
seasons.
Team,
yeah.
I mean, they're a juggernaut. They're a juggernaut. And look at what Boston has done. Look at what Boston has done. Look at what New York has done. God. Panic moves. Blow it all up. It's not, you can blow everything up. And screw you, Boston, for sending Brad Marchand to the freaking Panthers. Like,
yeah.
How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you sleep at night? RJ Martin says, really wish the MLB would do what the NHL did and just get rid of the Miss Universe pageant. I mean, All-Star game, and do a tournament instead.
I'm right there with you.
A WBC
for
a week,
great, wouldn't it? God,
yeah,
great.
A little WBC instead of the All-Star week.
Can we do a 4 nations of baseball?
Yeah, that's all you really need.
Yeah, you don't need a lot.
So we got USA, DR,
Cuba, and Mexico? Or is there enough players to do Japan? Yeah, I don't know if there's enough players right now.
Yeah, so DR, USA.
Or do you do a Central America team when you combine all of those guys?
What you could do is have a preliminary tournament just before spring training. Like when they normally do.
A play-in tournament?
Yeah, and you get 4, and then you get your 4. Yeah, just do a little, round robin, 4 or 6 groups. And then you take your probably 4 groups, and then the 4 winners meet for the All-Star week.
And you can play that preliminary tournament at the Trop with no roof on it. Just to test it out, see if it'll hold baseball.
Yeah, that would.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
By the way, JP, verdicts have come down in the Puff Daddy trial. Have you seen this yet?
Yeah, I did.
So apparently he was acquitted. He was acquitted of most of the major serious charges. The racketeering, the sex trafficking, he was found not guilty of. He was guilty of the lesser transportation to engage in prostitution charges, which could hold as much as 10 years in prison. Is there an over and under on how many years in prison right now that he will serve? Like, what do you think that is?
Probably none.
I'm going 6 months is my over under, and I'm taking the under.
Like, what is we laugh at the DR's
what are we doing?
Legal system. What about ours? What a joke. What a joke.
It is ridiculous.
And the biggest criminals, you just get a pardon by an auto pen.
Oh my God.
How about that? We don't want to talk enough about that. Oh yeah. Well,
one's talking enough about the auto pen Biden pardons. Yeah. By the way, JP, I also
these people in the media that are surprised. Oh, there was no cover up, bro. There was no cover up of Biden. You just decided to tell everybody, oh, he's fine. He's fine. Oh no, there was a cover up. We were hoodwinked in the media. I'm going to write a book. I didn't know. I'm just defending him for 4 years on CNN. How could I have known? I don't know. Your eyes, your ears.
Yeah, just be a person.
Most obvious thing ever.
Jesus. JP, I also have to bring something personal to the airwaves here for the yuck monkeys out in the audience, because I have a personal dilemma right now, and I'm not sure what to do here. As I have an eye doctor appointment tomorrow. I haven't been to the eye doctor in 12 years.
Mhm.
All right. And I have to fill out this online patient form.
Right.
All right. And I haven't filled out an online medical form probably since I had heart surgery in 2020 during COVIDus.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm filling out my patient form, JP, and of course, name, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then birth sex, male or female, right? Well, I wasn't confused by that.
Right.
Down towards the bottom, after occupation and birthday and employer and all that, there is a field, a drop-down field here for, and look, I don't have any agenda here other than my confusion, all right, for gender identity. I would like to read
on a health form.
Yes, I would like to read you the options because
Okay.
I have no effing idea.
Okay.
Option number 1, additional gender category or other. 2, decline to answer. 3, female to male, transgender male or trans man. Option 4 is, and I've never heard this term, and it's one word put together, genderqueer.
This is on a form?
This is on my form. I'm looking at it. I can do a screenshot if you would like. It says genderqueer, comma, neither exclusively male or female.
Can I say something?
I don't know what to pick because look, the other one is identifies as female.
Just put FU on there.
And then
Just
the
across
other one
the whole
is
thing. Just put FU.
the other one says male to female, transgender female, trans women, but nowhere is there an option for identifies as male. Like there's an identifies
You can't
as
identify
female,
as a male. Okay.
but there's not one for because clearly that's what I do.
May I suggest this? May I suggest this? In a
Confused.
in a field of endeavor such as being a doctor.
It's an eye exam.
Okay, so but they're doctors, are they not?
Yes.
Are they not? Do they not go to medical school? Do they not? Yeah. So if you've gone to medical school and you can't tell the difference between a man and a woman, and you think there's more than one choice, I'm just going to say that was a bad medical school you went to, or you're not a very good doctor.
Because
And if you don't know the difference between a man and if you can't from a doctor, I'm no doctor, but I can look at someone and go,
no.
If I have to examine them medically,
Right.
that's a male. And that will be very important information
For a medical exam.
for a medical exam.
I don't know if it matters for eyes.
Because since the beginning of time until about a few years ago, when certain people wanted to make you think there is no truth in the world and everything is in question, which brings intelligent chaos, right? Or unintelligent chaos.
There you go.
It makes you question everything. When you can question whether a man is a man or a woman is a woman, then everything is up for question. If you think about it psychologically, that's what they're doing. And if your doctor cannot tell the difference between a man and a woman, I would suggest you get a different doctor. Like you should have a different doctor because they have to make diagnosis based on whether you're a male or female. If they come and they take an x-ray and they go, oh, what is that? It's my penis. That's what that is. And that means I'm a man. Okay.
Okay. They also want to know.
Well, not actually. Well, really? Okay. I'll be looking for a referral to a different doctor.
JP, they also want to know, and I have to answer these. Have I ever been exposed or infected with gonorrhea, hepatitis, HIV, or syphilis on an eye exam?
Well, for you, shouldn't they have all the
Check
above?
all the boxes. Yeah. Like, what is yes? Can I just say yes? Look, this is a Walmart eye exam. What are we doing here? Don't check under the hood, y'all. Yeah, thanks, Rick. Absolutely. It's an eye exam.
When I went in for my MRI last week, they give you this big thing, and the girl's like, and I'm like going through it. And they ask you all about your surgery. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to remember? I'm 60 years old. How the hell? Like, how many times? When did I have? I think I've had a lot of surgeries. Like it's been a few, and I'm like, I don't know when they were. Like, I can't remember. I can give you kind of a date.
Right.
Like, and I've filled this out a million times. Shouldn't we have this? Like, my credit report has shit on it from 1961. Like, and then, like, I went over my limit in 84, and they can figure that out. But we don't have a dossier of medicine that follows you through your life that shows this is when I had freaking surgeries. I mean, they know when I went over my credit limit.
You guys know that I defaulted on a
Sunoco credit card when I bought 2 cases of beer in 1981 for the frat. But I can't have a dossier that follows me that says that when my surgeries and what drugs I'm allergic to. We don't have that. We have a credit report, but we can't have a medical report that follows us. You people keep track of that shit. That's for damn sure.
Y'all know that I defaulted on
every time I go to another doctor's office, I got to fill out 17 forms of every medical thing that's happened in my life. I don't know what shots I had when I was 4. What the F? And the lady just said, "Give me that." She's like, ching, 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 ching. It's like, we'll be here all day. She's like, the MRI is ready to go. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Thank you.
We don't know who you are, but just crawl in that machine over there.
Right. Jeez, Pete. God, MRIs, by the way, when they put you through that tube, I freaking hate that thing. And then she goes to me, she goes, well, we can flip you around and put you in feet first. I'm like, well, why the F didn't you say that in the first place?
Well, I had a girlfriend tell me that once.
Yeah. All right, we got to hit another break. Let's hit a break. We'll come back and get the rest of these silly comments in, or maybe we'll talk about all Tim's sexual diseases, whatever. Who knows? But it'll be funny. I guarantee you
that I know of.
That you know. Right. Hey, we're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Really good folks over there. They will price out your homeowners insurance, your auto insurance, your business insurance. They'll make sure you have flood insurance, all those insurance needs, which of course you got to have all of them, right? ItalianoInsurance.com will do all the work. They will go through all the research, and you save all the money. That's how it works. 813-877-7799. Another great local company. Been doing it for 60 years here locally. One of the best in the business. The best in the business. ItalianoInsurance.com. Back in 3. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or co-pays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Celebrate summer with the largest jewelry collection at the Gold and Diamond Source. Yes, summer is here, and it's the perfect time to shine with the exquisite June birthstones, pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone. Each gemstone carries its own unique significance and style, making them the perfect thing for any summer occasion. Celebrate the milestone of a 30th anniversary with the timeless beauty of pearl, the traditional stone for this very special occasion. Right now, enjoy 5 years of interest-free financing. You can own a stunning $5,000 ring and pay only $83 a month with zero interest over 5 years. Shop online and get 15% off the June birthstones that include pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone. The perfect opportunity to add a touch of summer sparkle to your collection. As always, make the summer unforgettable and visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, the only place to get that unforgettable engagement ring. Great folks over there. Tell them JP sent you. 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent-rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. Summer is coming. Do not get caught with your unit unprepared. Your AC unit, of course. The awesome folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC have a special going on right now. You get a free 1-year maintenance package with any purchase of a new unit. They have special 60-month financing as well, so you don't need a huge chunk up front. Third Generation has an impeccable reputation built over 30 years of doing business. They do plumbing, AC, mechanical work, anything you need around the house. They are trusted folks. Go to the website and read the 5-star reviews. Deidre said, great company that always arrives timely. We have used them for our AC both in home and business and have been very happy. The staff is knowledgeable and professional. I would recommend Third Generation again and again. So give Third Generation a call at 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Where'd
All right,
JT
welcome
go?
back. I'm here.
Your camera's off.
My camera's off?
I guess. I don't see you anywhere. I mean, I hear you, but I can't see you. Your device is not connected. Well, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports as we continue to
Can you hear me?
endeavor. I can hear you just fine, but your camera's off.
All right, stand by. We had a little accident.
Uh-oh, somebody spilled beer on the board this morning. We will, by the way, for everybody wondering, because it is a Wednesday, the day before the John Deere Classic PGA Tour event. I do have Johnny's picks here for everybody, even though Johnny cannot come on because he is on drunk golf assignment. So we will get into Johnny's picks here before the end of the show in the last 20 minutes here, in hour 2 of the JP Peterson Show. As a matter of fact, you know what? Why don't we just do that now? I will do that for you now as JP tries to work through his spilled beer, fireball, rumplements all over the studio there in Tampa.
Wow.
In the Jeeves Law Group.
Do we have
No.
that? I'm up now. Can you see me?
Nope. Oh, there you are. Now I can.
Yeah.
What the heck was all that about?
I think the fireball's at your place. I don't know. I've been on screen here for 10 seconds now.
Oh, you weren't on screen here. It just showed you as not on screen.
I'm back.
You want me to do Johnny's picks here real quick as he's on the road right now?
Yes.
For everyone interested and wondering, for the John Deere Classic, Johnny's picks are in. We haven't even put them out on social media yet. We're going to do that as soon as the show is over. But Johnny's got some interesting picks here for the John Deere Classic at TPC Deer Run in Silvis, Illinois.
Benny McCarthy 28-1. JP Poston, JP Peterson 32-1.
Peterson is not on the call.
JT Poston. Oh, my bad.
There you
Luke
go.
Clinton 35-1.
Brand new pro. As
Yeah.
Luke Clinton struggles in his conversion to be a pro from amateur status.
Joe Knowles.
Cashmere Keith Mitchell at 55-1 is
ham sandwich.
the long shot ham sandwich. Jason Day, Lucas Glover at plus 300 and plus 400 respectively in your top 10. And then finally your top 20s, Kurt Kitayama at plus 275.
When is the Open Championship? Is that next week?
Putnam. No, we're not far from the Open
Couple
Championship.
weeks away.
Though.
It's usually on my birthday. So
I'm sorry. We have to refer to it appropriately as the British Open.
Yeah.
It's not the Open. The Open Championship has already been played here in America.
You're going to piss off the RNA people.
You know what? Screw the RNA. Go get a real golf tournament. Look, I will maintain that the British Open doesn't even deserve to be a major. I've talked about this multiple times.
I disagree.
I know
totally
you do.
Disagree.
I know you do. But I'm just not a fan. I think it's kind of a circus show. It's you know what? It is the live golf
the
of
game
majors
that played in a different way. It's much like grass and clay and hard court. You have your U.S. Open, you have your Masters, and then you have the British Open is kind of like, oddly enough, Wimbledon. It's a different surface, and it demands a different type of golf game and a different type of creativity.
And
so that's why so you have 4 majors that test your game in 4 different ways. U.S. Open is typically the hardest and tests your mental strength more than anything else. The Masters is, a different type of golf. And, obviously the PGA is usually the best field because it's bigger and more diverse.
What you're saying is that we should be playing golf tournaments on clay now too. I'm
just saying it tests different parts of your game. So if you are to win a career Grand Slam, it shows that you can win on any surface, so to speak, in any different type of golf. So I like it, and I think it's an integral part.
The four majors are the U.S. Open, the Masters.
You're going to say the Players Championship instead.
The Players Championship is the 4th major. It's not the British Open. If you want to play on that on freaking hay, go play over there on the DP World Tour because that's what they do. Don't put it in my PGA Tour event. We don't need it.
Once again, JP has to bring some culture and some diversity to this show.
So we have the John Deere Classic this week. Davis Thompson,
which is the opposite of
defending winner, which is by far the opposite. Then you have the Scottish Open coming up July 10th, and then the ISCO Championship in Louisville, July 10th, also opposite the Scottish Open, and then the British Open Championship, the worst major in golf, July 17th at Royal Portrush.
Yes,
with your Alexander Schauffele, defending his championship.
I played Royal Portrush a few years ago, and it's absolutely fabulous. Wow. What a golf course!
Gentlemen, a big fucking problem.
That's
wow. Look at you.
All right, the lineup for today, the wacky lineup, Ray's wacky lineups, brought to you by Kevin Cash. Not so wacky today.
Or is it from one of the sick kids in the hospital that he let do the lineup again? We never know.
Wow, dude. Josh Lowe leading off in right field. How do we feel? How do we feel about Josh Lowe as leading off? I'm just going to keep banging the drum for Chandler.
Why is it Chandler Simpson leading off? That's my question.
I don't know. Josh Lowe is a power bat. He can steal bases. I know he's not slow. But he's not Chandler Simpson, who's hitting at 360. Yeah. Come on. Or his on base is 360. I think, what are we doing? What are we doing? Brandon Lowe in the 2-hole playing second. Yadi Diaz DHing in the 3-hole, which is great for him. Okay. He's not a leadoff hitter in either. Jonathan Aranda back to his 4th spot in the lineup. Junior Caminero 5th. Jake Mangum hitting 6th in left field. Chandler Simpson 7th. If you're going to bat Chandler Simpson 7th, why don't you bat him 9th?
Yeah, what's the point?
As their second leadoff guy. I don't get that. Matt Theis catching today. Taylor Walls batting 9th, playing shortstop. Ryan Pepio on the hill. Like, why? If you're going to bat Chandler Simpson 7th, you might as well bat him 9th.
Yeah, I don't get it. What's the point?
That just doesn't. Here should be my lineup today. Chandler Simpson, Brandon Lowe, Yandy Diaz, Aranda, Caminero. Then I'd have Josh Lowe. Then I'd have Mangum. No, I'd have Matt Theis 7th, Walls 8th, and then Mangum 9th because he's got speed too.
Yeah.
That's my lineup. I don't know what this shenanigans is.
This is going to be our new Rays lineup music.
But I'm going to say this. The last 2 games have had Christopher Morel in the lineup. Double check me on that, boys. Have Meade and Morel been in lineup the last 2 days, which were L's. Even though Meade had a home run last night. I get it. Meade scored the night before, but they were L's. They were wacky lineups, and they were L's against last place teams. So I like that music, by the way. Benny Hill music.
By the way, Rick has the comment of the day, as he often does. Thursday, 10:02 a.m. Where's Tim? JP. He got arrested at his eye exam. Apparently, he was walking around Walmart in the hospital again with his ass out and eyes dilated, mumbling, "I'm a man, damn it." You know what? There is a greater than 0 chance, Rick, of that actually happening tomorrow at my local Walmart.
Well, here's where your premise is flawed, Rick. That happens every day at a Walmart. Nobody gets arrested.
That's why I don't go to Walmart.
What are you talking about, bro? Have you been to a Walmart lately, Rick? Clearly you haven't, because that's just a Tuesday at a Walmart. Nobody's getting arrested for that.
Wait, do they make you put on hospital gowns for an eye exam now? Am I missing something?
No, but maybe you'll just wear your own.
My own. I'm just gonna wear one.
That's what he was. He was like, you know what? I don't want to wear theirs. I'm going to bring my own today.
Hey, you know what? So this is a brand new doctor I've never seen before.
Well, you know what? You should show up in a hospital gown. And why are you dressed like that? It said, because I need to prove to you I'm a man. This will make it easy.
Rick, how much will you pay me if when I go into the room without saying a word before I sit in the chair, I just take my shirt off? And then I sit in the chair shirtless. And I just don't say anything. I'm just going to sit in the chair shirtless for my eye exam to see if they like what it is a woman, because I don't see men doctors. I'm just gonna walk in, take my shirt off, and I'm gonna sit there with a shirt in hand and say L7.
Oh my Lord.
Rick.
B says Jane Castor said fairground site is out, said needs to be in Tampa City, can't simply kick in if not within the city limits. Yeah, there was an article in the Times today that was just really weird. It was really weird. It was, I go back, let me see the name of the article. And I think it's just because they needed to get clicks today. They didn't have anything else. And it says Tampa Bay leaders optimistic of new Rays ownership. And basically it's a rehash of everything we've been talking about going back to when Hagan was on the show a week ago Friday. There's nothing new in this whatsoever, except maybe the quote from Castor talking about the fairgrounds, which, you know, I had not heard that, but that's the only thing new in this. It's just, and it's written by a reporter that I've never seen on the beat before. It was kind of weird. It's not Colleen. It's not Mark. It's Kobe Edmonds. And it's just a bunch of rehash of stuff that we already knew. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. And it does mention Zalupski met with Jane. It's a lot of rehash. You know, I don't. It's weird. It's a weird story, but whatever. We're still waiting for the Zalupski piece, which may or may not be coming. I know that the author that was, or the reporter that was out there on Facebook looking for stuff on the Dream Fighters home page had some dialogue with some of the people who watch the show, and they have relayed some of that dialogue to me. And I listen, I'll say it again. It's a completely legitimate venture that they're looking into this. Absolutely. If he's going to be he's going to be the owner of the team, you should look into him. A lot of his businesses. He's not even the owner yet. And you were looking into his business. Maybe you should look into the guy that's been the owner for 20 years. Look into his business, which you've never done.
Yep.
Despite the ridiculous lawsuits and all the stuff that he's pulled, the shenanigans, we've never done any critical reporting of Stu Sternberg and his business practices whatsoever. That's the point. Not that you're looking into this one. It's like, why haven't you ever looked into his? Because there's a lot there. But I'm not going to do that. Nathan Elliott says Bucs defense was not even a sidekick. It was the comic relief in comics. It was the speedball to the new Warriors. Speedball was there, sometimes helpful, but mostly a joke of the team. I think early on in the season it was a little better than that, but towards the end it was not great. Daniel Rivera says, per Colby Edmonds in the Times today, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor said she met with Zalewski at his request and is a member of his team in May. Yeah, we've already reported. We reported this last week. Evan Klosky reported the meeting. It's all really old news. Like, where you been? But that's kind of how they are in the story anyway. What else we got? Yeah, Daniel, you're giving me a lot of stuff on this Times piece, and it's appreciate it, but it's all old news.
It's regurgitated is what we call it in the business.
Yes. B says the stadium's going to Wesley Chapel, and you Tampa people will like it. We love Wesley Chapel, but once again, not a place for baseball.
Not going there.
Nathan says the Glazers like Jason Light and they like Todd Bowles. They have learned from their mistakes, and they have learned to don't break what is not broken. Bucs are winning, Glazers are making money. As we used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? I think that's the way we used to say that.
Yep.
Rick says Nathan also helps when all your money isn't tied up in Manchester United. Yeah. I don't think that's been a problem for quite some time. They got plenty of money.
Did they divest themselves of that, or?
No, they sold off a big chunk.
Okay.
And they're not running the day-to-day soccer operations anymore. They sold it. They let that go to an investor. Now he takes all the heat. But they're doing a huge multiplex complex and replacing Old Trafford. I think it's $2 or $3 billion project over there, much like they're going to do in Tampa, it appears. Josh Freeman mentioned that was Mons Venus' best year ever.
Josh Freeman.
I saw Josh the other day at a Lightning game.
Did you really?
Yeah. I didn't say hi to him, but he looks good. That was an interesting era somebody been putting Josh Freeman highlights out on Twitter lately. It's kind of the guy could run and he could throw, but
I thought you were going to say he threw you a look, but it was intercepted.
Oh, more Ryan Rudder said Ibuka is plus 4,000 to win Rookie of the Year. Might be a long shot with the starting rookie quarterbacks, but that's worth any value. I think so.
Oh,
absolutely.
Which rookie quarterback do you think is going to win Rookie of the Year? Like, there's none.
Yeah, that ain't happening. I think Ibuka is a really good offensive Rookie of the Year, right?
Okay, the only way I think that happens is if Chris Godwin is out to begin the season for an extended period of time and Ibuka gets a ton of playing time. Otherwise, I don't see that happening.
I still think even with when Godwin returns, or even I still think he's going to be in the 50 to 75 catch range. So which for Ibuka could be, that could be in almost 1,000 yards. Yeah.
So he's taken 50 catches away from Jalen McMillan.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah, there's a lot there, and I think McMillan has earned the spot right ahead of Ibuka so far.
Well, when will Scott Reynolds make his return to the Pewter Report podcast? I know the answer to that question because he has just asked me to co-host with him today at 4:00. So I will be co-hosting with Scott Reynolds at 4:00 on the Pewter Report podcast. So there you go. How about that? That'll be my third podcast of the day.
Damn, Gina, you're doing Tim numbers now.
Yeah.
Like Tim's Wednesdays when I do 3 every Wednesday. By the way, From the Rough coming up 6:00 Eastern on all of the FanStream Sports YouTube channels.
So where's Johnny going to be doing From the Rough from?
Johnny will be back at his place finally by that time when we send it out at 6:00 Eastern. He's traveling today.
Okay. Christopher Cole says, how about the Cubs game last night in the second inning? All 3 outs were on the bases. Wow, I did not see that, but that's bad. Mike H says, Arrested interview brought up him playing baseball with John Elway. How many players would have been great MLB players but went to the NFL? We mentioned John Lynch and John Elway. Who was some of the other double?
By the way, don't ride in a golf cart with John Elway.
Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
No. He tried. That didn't work out so well. couldn't hit the curveball during his gambling ban. What?
Even in Birmingham, he couldn't hit a curveball.
Yeah.
But he bought the team a bus.
That was nice of him.
It was very nice of him.
I'm selfish, too. Any other, who are some of the other baseball players? Who? Kyler Murray. Yeah. Kyler Murray.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson
was on the Rangers roster in spring training 1 year.
Joe Mauer was multi-sport, but he went baseball.
Yeah.
Charlie Ward, do sport. Yeah. Charlie Ward probably won a Heisman Trophy and also, well, he played for the Knicks, so he couldn't win the championship. Rick said Diddy will be found guilty on tax evasion. He didn't pay his tariffs on baby oil. He may get an Epstein treatment.
I think that's an American product. I don't think there are tariffs on baby oil if you buy the right stuff. I'm just saying.
Depending on what you buy.
Not that I know.
No, exactly. I use the imported stuff.
I've heard only the imported baby oil for me. Mark.
Rick says Tim's dilemma. Hey, doctor, my eyes are up here. Don't need to check under the hood.
Hey, look, if she's cute, she can check wherever she wants.
Oh, okay.
Might have to roll tape on that, by the way, tomorrow.
But from the judging from the questionnaire in that office, you may not know what gender she is.
I may not know
until
I check under the hood. Off the rails.
Oh God, I almost said something I would have been.
Oh, Douglas, thank you very
much. I may have regretted.
Appreciate that.
What did B said? Gender non-confirming is totally different than non-binary.
Only B would know. I don't know.
Like, why are we even discussing that? Tim Ellen with your doctor form, right? What are we doing? What do we do?
I was honestly confused. I didn't know what to put. I just didn't put anything. I left it blank.
Bucs Basement says, I honestly think a big thing that Say Bowles asked, aside from the awful division, is the seeding in the playoffs. Glazers make a lot of money, even from a one-and-done playoff appearance. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
But it's not the goal. The one-and-done is not the goal, even for the Glazers. Maybe for
and
Jerry
you make
Tillman.
money. Pretty sure you make money when you go on the road in the playoffs, too.
Yeah.
You get a cut of the gate, if I'm not mistaken.
And unless you're playing a Dan Snyder-owned team, you get that cut of the gate.
Mike H says they convert Ray J into motocross and monster truck all the time. What's the possibility of converting to a baseball venue if the Rays make it deep into the playoffs? Zero, Mike. Zero. Because they have two other tenants there during October. You might know, called the Buccaneers and the Bulls. And also, Ray J cannot be reconfigured for a real baseball stadium. You can't do it. There was Savannah Bananas play.
Don't
there was
tell Savannah Bananas that
210 to right field. That's not going to work.
Even I could hit it out in 210.
But we could use it for watch parties. I think that's because all you got to do is turn on the damn. Has a great audio visual system at Raymond James Stadium. It's tremendous, and you could put up some screens on the field too. But you probably don't want to mess with the field because you got football to play. But you could put, you have all the luxury boxes. You have everything. I know my friends at the TSA are like, shut the F up. We got enough to do during football season. We don't need to be hosting watch parties for baseball and tailgates. But it would be cool. I think it would be totally cool if we had this huge stadium filled with baseball, and you would only have to charge like $20, and have people come in and buy all the overpriced concessions. You make a ton of them, because one of the big things that they're talking about in baseball is, well, there's a lot of money that's tied to these playoffs that go to the Players Association, that go to the player, like it's different shares and stuff of playoff money. Well, if you're selling 50,000 seats at Raymond James Stadium for watch parties at $20 a pop, plus cuts of concession and everything else, and parking, and could be doing big official tailgate parties with thousands of people. Yeah, you can make plenty of money. They just won't be in the actual stadium watching the game. Which, can we be a little bit creative instead of just ripping it away from us? You jackasses.
JP, we had I gotta find it again. We had a Drew Henson comment. Here we go. Drew Henson was a Yankees infielder, and he also played quarterback for your Dallas Cowboys.
That's true.
Good morning to you.
All right.
And of course,
sorry we couldn't.
Of course, Tom Brady drafted by the Montreal Expos.
Oh. And Rick says JP was the Joe Mauer of third grade. You damn right. You damn right.
I was an all-pro at every sport in elementary school.
Check your sheet. As Jameis would say. Check your sheet. Go check your elementary sports almanac. I'll be in there.
Does Jameis Winston beat out Russell Wilson for the starting job in New York?
Nah. They won't
Jackson
give him a
Dart?
chance. No.
Or Jackson Dart?
You know, I think Jameis will probably be expendable if Jackson Dart shows
You think
up.
he's gone by the final cuts, right? Not late August?
I just don't know. Like, keeping him around that quarterback room would be a freaking circus. Like, just a circus. Like, James be coming in on Tuesday and be like, all right, we got a new rhyme.
Maybe Jameis ends up in Indianapolis.
Russell number 1, Jackson number 2. You don't even need me. I'm gonna go take a poo. Like he'll be coming up with rhymes like that. Like, especially if they have some, behind the scenes cameras, like, or doing the Hard Knocks. Hey guys, we got a rhyme today. Who knows?
Just audio gold every time he opens his mouth.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Great.
All right, that'll do it for us today. Thank you guys for joining us. If you missed any part of the program, please go back and check it out as a podcast. You can do that. You can like and subscribe to Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and listen that way. Always on YouTube, always available on our Facebook. I fixed our Facebook, by the way. How about that? So it's now available live to everyone. I think I didn't check it yet today.
How'd you do that?
Well, lots of work, Tim. That's all I do.
Fix
here is
mine.
work.
Fix mine.
You got go on Facebook and figure it out. It took me
all
3
right.
hours.
I'll figure it out.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Need a Report podcast. All right, boys.